So I started in August and posted every single day. I woke up one morning and I got 1,000 followers, and I went 10 days straight with getting 1,000 followers a day.
Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to the Startup Storybook Podcast. I'm Turner Ray with my friend Wes, and today we've got Luke Carrell on. He is a graduate student at Ohio State and also plays baseball up there and has multiple businesses from when he was started undergrad and one that is fairly recent. Luke, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me. Super excited to kind of share what I've done and then also kind of learn about what you guys are doing.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, why don't we just get a quick bio from you, where you're from, all that type of stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm Luke Carroll, grew up in Davis, California. My parents actually live in Austin, Texas now, so I guess that's home. I was born in Florida. Uh, my dad was in the military, so I moved around when I was younger. So I kind of lived all over the United States. I went to the University of Oklahoma out of high school, played baseball there for 3 years, and then ended up grad transferring here to Ohio State, where I'm currently pursuing my MBA with a focus in finance.
Okay, very cool. And your two businesses, you're telling us greenhorn fishing.
Yes, that's correct.
That was something you did undergrad and has kind of had its time and had a purpose there. And then currently you're working on Side Coach. So why don't you kind
Yeah.
of give us just a quick what each one is and what you're doing there?
Yeah, so I would say I've always had a very entrepreneurial mindset, even from an early age. I would go out, my brother and I would go find golf balls, clean them, sell them on the courses when I was probably third, fourth grade. And then 2020, when COVID hit, I've I was I had all this time on my hands, and I've always wanted to start a business, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And so my brother and I, we were out fishing. Like, hey, like let's start a fishing company and let's just run with it from there. And so from there, we loved throwing these jig heads. We got striped bass fishing. We were losing them left and right, and so we're like, hey, let's start making our own. And they're $1, $2 a piece. And so it adds up. You go out there. My dad is out there. Three of us are out fishing. You're losing five, six, seven, 8 of these each day. It adds up. And so we started pouring lead jig heads, powder coat, painting them, and then our friends really liked them, so we started selling them to them, and then kind of took it from there. What I realized is we didn't really have a competitive advantage. We were competing with Bass Pro that is able to economies of scale. They're manufacturing them for very,
Mhm.
very cheap. I was never going to keep up with them. We didn't have any custom designs or anything. We're just using do it molds. But I learned a ton from that. I was able to grow an Instagram page to close to 30,000 followers, and then was able to monetize those followers on Instagram, was able to get corporate partnerships. And so I learned a ton from that experience. I also had a lot of failures. When I first started making these jigs, I was like, "Hey, I need to make 5,000 of these jigs, and then I'll go out and sell them." And what I realized is I made way too many. I still have probably hundreds at home, way overproduced. It was just really tough to sell them online. And then so I kind of took that, and then I was at Oklahoma. I was my freshman year. um, we went to the College World Series. We came back from our team came back from Omaha. I didn't play much at all, and nobody on our team really had any NIL deals. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with NIL deals, name, image, and likeness. It's in the media right now. Like college football players, basketball players, you're seeing deals, 5, 6, $7 million deals for these star players. But what I saw was college baseball players weren't really getting that, and honestly, most of the other sports, and all these other sports weren't getting these big NIL deals that you're seeing football and basketball getting. And so I knew there was a way that I can make money, that was outside of a traditional job. Being a college athlete and a full time student is super difficult to pick up a traditional job that most college students have. But what I realized was that we could start giving private pitching and hitting lessons. and I didn't realize how much parents would be willing to pay for these lessons. And so my roommate and I started giving these lessons, and we are like, oh my gosh, like all of our teammates need to start doing this. And we're like, why aren't they doing it? And so what we came to was like, one, it was super, super difficult for ourselves to get our names out there. Like I grew up in Davis, California. Norman, Oklahoma is halfway across the country. I didn't know anybody in that town. And so it took me a while to get my name out there. And then two, once I got my name out there, I found myself spending more time texting back and forth with these parents. They'd be hitting me up at like 10, 11 o'clock at night and like, hey, can I get my kid a lesson? It was just super, super difficult to balance with my academic and athletic schedule. And so what we wanted to do was develop a platform to solve both of these barriers. And so that's when in 20 November of 22, we first started working on trying to develop this platform. It ended up taking about a year and a half to actually get it launched from when we first had the idea to getting it out, having customers use it. And that was just because it was super difficult to find coders. We had a limited budget, and so fortunately, through connections, we were able to find some great coders that were willing to do it for a fraction of the price. But the time was the biggest constraint that they were going to work on the side. So we kind of worked along with them in that process. We launched that about 2 years ago now. Actually, yeah, coming up on 2 years, the platform's been up and running. Currently, we've done close to about 50,000 in transactions on the platform with connecting these college athletes to youth athletes. And what we've kind of found is, yes, our website or our web platform is great, but there's some limited barriers in it, in that we realized we really needed a mobile app, and we've kind of replicated almost Airbnb's and Uber's mobile app to where they've got it down where it's so easy to go book a Airbnb or go book your Uber ride, 'cause we kind of view ourselves as similar. We're just connecting college athletes and youth athletes for these lessons. Uber's connecting homeowners and people who are wanting to do short-term rent. Same thing with Uber. And so we've kind of designed our uh, mobile app based off of that, and we're hoping to launch here in the next couple of weeks. We're still in the process of Apple approving us. What I found is Apple is very, very strict and everything to launch an app. And so we have a fully custom app. And so we're going through that process right now, but fingers crossed it'll be launched soon. But yeah, that's a little bit about my background, entrepreneurial background, kind of the evolution of from when I was a super young to where I'm at right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I have a question for you, kind of going back to what you were saying at the beginning here. So
Mhm,
you said you grew up just always kind of entrepreneurship like, and you gave us a couple of really cool examples.
mhm.
But so the question is, where do you think the entrepreneurship mindset came from for you? Was it your parents? Was it other external forces, or do you really think it was like innate?
I would say from my parents. My
Hmm.
mom, like from an early age, she was always having us go out do crafts. Like growing up, I didn't play video games. I wasn't sitting in my room watching TV. I was outside. My brother and I are super close. We've obviously done both these businesses together. But she would have us out outside building forts or whatever. And so I'm always looking to create something. And so that's where I was kind of able to transition that into a business and have where I call it the entrepreneurial mindset.
Hmm. Yeah, older brother or younger brother?
Older brother, he's 2.5
Older
years
brother.
older than me. He and I
That's
actually
crazy.
played baseball at Oklahoma together. So we
That's
played college
awesome.
baseball. He's now working full time at Bank of America, for them, and then doing side coach on the side.
Mhm, that's cool because I have a younger brother who's 2.5 years younger than me.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Alright, go ahead, Turner.
well, along those lines, do you think that being a student athlete and obviously you're pretty good at baseball if you're still playing and keeping that up, right? Do you think that that
Mhm.
discipline and kind of what you need to keep at it is part of it all?
Yeah, I would say, being a college athlete, a lot of things translate. Like, we have 4 days a week. We have to be at the weight room at 5:30 in the morning, and then go to class, and then we're back at practice. And I would say that translates having that discipline, being able to show up to something, even like times when you don't want to get out of bed at 5 a.m. on a Monday morning. That's usually not what you're looking forward to, but being able to do that, being consistent, having your coaches hold you accountable, that really translates into being an entrepreneur, starting a business. Just because it takes a lot of discipline to create something and to be building something and not really see a lot of returns early on is very difficult to actually turn a profit. If you look at a lot of startup companies, like 99% of them fail. Um,
Mhm.
and so, and even companies that are venture backed, most of them fail. If you look at VC funds, a lot of them fail. So, like, kind of going into something and looking at it, like, statistically, hey, odds are you're probably going to fail. Um, and you have to have that discipline to kind of push through and be like, hey, you have to believe in it. You have to believe in it more than anybody else has to believe in it. People will tell you all the time, hey, this is not going to work. But if you believe in it, I'm a firm believer that you can make things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I asked that because a couple of our guests have, one of them, his name is Blaze Whitaker. He's a national and world, competing powerlifter
Okay.
and college athlete, and so
Mhm.
with him, he was talking a lot about how getting up to be at the gym and just making sure you're there every day, and like you
Mhm.
said, it's not immediate. It's a
Mhm.
long-term gain, not short-term
Mhm.
gain that you're going for.
Exactly, exactly.
So,
Is getting
yeah.
out of that instant gratification mindset, that you have to I'll say my brother and I we took all the money that we made from, greenhorn fishing, invested that into Side Coach, and we haven't paid ourselves a dime the last 4 years from these side hustles. Um, what I would say right now, right, everything's a side hustle until you make it a full-time job. And so he's been in school, now working full-time. I'm obviously still in school playing baseball and then doing it on the side. So,
Mhm. Yeah, so this is, I mean, not necessarily a direct question to your current business, but I'm curious because you had mentioned when you were running that first business,
mhm.
with was it hooks, right?
Yeah, they're jigs. So it's pretty much what it is. It's a hook with a piece of lead attached to it, and then it has like strings around it or skirts.
Gotcha. And the thing I wanted to focus on was how you said you realized that you couldn't compete with like the bigger companies. And I'm sure
Mhm.
there's tons of like budding entrepreneurs that like want to start, but have the worry that they can't compete. So like, what would you tell other entrepreneurs that are going through that? And like, what was the realization to you that he's like, okay, I built something cool, but I gotta stop or do like, what was that to you?
Um, what I would say is that I think if you work hard enough at something, you'll be able to make something out of it. But I always say your opportunity cost. And
Mm.
my realization was when I started giving these lessons and I'm making 60, $70 an hour to
Oh,
work with
wow.
a kid versus I would have to sell, like 10 jigs to generate the same amount of revenue. And so I was like, my opportunity cost, like, those jigs will
Mhm.
take me a lot more than an hour to make and then go out and sell. And so I just saw the opportunity there. Um, and I'm sure, like, if we kept working on greenhorn fishing, we found, competitive advantage. We were just buying Do It molds, which are this company, awesome company, but it's designed for people to make their own jigs but not really to go out and sell them. Like Bass
Mhm.
Pro, all these like Z-Man, they all have their own distinct competitive advantages that they're kind of really bringing to the market. And I didn't have anything besides maybe a little bit different colors, but I couldn't go out to like a fishing show and be like, hey, these jigs are so much different.
But that's certainly not a reason to not do it, right? Because you wouldn't have known had you not started Greenhorn that, "Oh, hey, I mean, I've gotta have something special here," and growing to 25, 30,000 Instagram followers, like, there's value in the things that
Mhm.
you did on the way.
Exactly, exactly. That's what I was saying. Like entrepreneurship, I think what people struggle the most with is like they're like, I need to find this $1 million idea. I need to find the perfect idea. And then you just sit there and like just go out and do something. Like go and I feel that with life as well. If you're finding a job, you don't know what you wanna do, just go do something because by you going out and doing it, even if you don't like it, and then at least you know that's not what you wanna do the rest of your
Yep.
life. And so, one thing with entrepreneurship, like, just go start something, like, whatever you wanna do, find something if you whatever, like, raise capital, whatever it is, bootstrap it, go out and do it, and odds are even with if you have $1,000,000 idea, it's gonna fail, so just use all those lessons to then set you up for success down the road once you do have a good idea. And so that's kinda how I've looked at things, just jump into something, do it, because I might not, I didn't, know how to run a social media prior to greenhorn fishing, and then also, finding developers to build a website, working with, manufacturers to help, or suppliers to get us all the equipment that we needed, the partnerships, all that stuff really, really translated in. And so, like, my biggest piece of advice is just go out and do something if you wanna be an entrepreneur. Like, all successful entrepreneurs like Elon, PayPal, Tesla, those weren't his first, businesses that he started. He was coding when he was in probably I think when he was, like, 10 years old, he was learning to code and developing and selling games that he was coding. Um, Zuckerberg, same thing, like, Facebook wasn't the first thing he started. Like, he had all of these other failures that kinda led him into, Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. The next question I kind of have, and we mentioned it a couple times already, the social media.
Mhm,
Obviously, this day and age, that is an extremely important aspect of business. For us, I mean, we started this back in April, just for some context. And so
mhm,
we've been just recently being very diligent about, hey, we're posting clips about the episode. We're doing a teaser video the day before it drops, like those types of things, and trying to
mhm,
be intentional about it. But we're still trying to figure out how to get the traction there. And
mhm.
so, what did you learn growing this social media page from nothing to where you had it?
What I will say is social media is not linear, and it's not gonna be, "Hey, we put together this, strategy where we're gonna post, have all this stuff, and then you're gonna wake up and you're gonna have 100,000 followers." Like, it is not gonna happen. Nobody just wakes up overnight with 1,000,000 followers unless some big news article gets written on them and whatever. But most social media pages are years and years and years and years and years of posting day over day consistently, and then all of a sudden, boom, you hit the algorithm right, and you wake up, and then you're getting 1,000 followers a day. You're like, "What the heck?" And just getting that traction. So, like, from my experience, I know everybody have had different experiences, but I was posting probably, like, every 2, 3 days when I first started the page. I was just trying to get as much content out there, kinda show what we're doing, um, and then I grew it to about 1,000, 2,000 followers. And then I was like, "Man, I can't grow this page," and so I kinda went out there and I was just researching how do you grow a social media page because I thought I need to have followers that will then I can convert into, customers on our website, and so I went out there, found, a couple people who had recently blew up their page, and I saw, it's been from my viewpoint that they blew up overnight. I reached out to them like, "Hey, what'd you do?" And they're like, "Hey, what I did was I posted every single day for 2 years straight, and then all of a sudden, boom, whatever I had one video hit the algorithm right, and then my I started getting 1, 2, 3, 4,000 followers a day, and so I did the same thing. I started, it was beginning of my freshman year at Oklahoma, and I posted every single day for almost a year straight. So I started in August and posted every single day, and not until the following July, so just under a year, I woke up one morning and I got like 10 no, I got 1,000 followers, and I went 10 days straight with getting 1,000 followers a day out of the blue. And I had one video hit, I think it got close to 3,000,000 views of me just tying a stupid knot on how to tie a jig. And then I was like, "Oh my gosh." So then I just kept posting, kept posting, kept posting, and I was like, "Man, I'm gonna get to like 1,000,000 followers." And then it kinda petered out. I think the highest I got to was like 29,000. I don't think I ever
Mhm.
touched 30,000. But it wasn't like some people were like, "Man, you grew this overnight," but it took me almost a year of posting every single day. And what you learn is, hey, you have to figure out what your followers wanna watch, and so you have to you have to play what the data is giving back to you. So I was always looking into the statistics on where are people watching this content, what videos are doing the best, and then it kind of builds that momentum. And what I learned was for us to for what got Greenhorn to blow up was that people wanted informational content. They wanted to learn how to fish off my page, and so I was making short reels that they could go home and like, "Hey, let me see. Here's how to tie a palm knot, or here's how to rig up a jig, or here's how to whatever." And then I'd mix in like funny sounds or whatnot, and that's what would really catch people. So like going back to that one video of me tying a knot, I got close to 3 million views. The reason it blew up was that I was actually tying the knot, and then my smoke detector was out, and in the background you could hear a little beep beep and so I was just getting clowned on Instagram like, "Hey, this kid can't even, he can't even, fix his fire alarm, like, why would you listen to him, like, tying a knot?" Which I thought was funny. I was like, "Man, this is great." And so once you have people going back and forth on your page, making fun of you and whatnot, that's what, like, boom, that's what hit the algorithm. It wasn't really that tying the knot. Some people liked it, but that's what got the algorithm going, and then people saw my page, they saw the other stuff, they're like, "Oh, this is a great page, like, let me follow them." And so that was kinda my recipe for that. What I will say is social media is weird. I tried doing the exact same thing for Side Coach, and it never worked. I was videos on, like, teaching kids how to hit or kind of tried following the same recipe, posted for close to a year, wasn't able to get more than like 3,000 followers. And what I learned is the algorithm's always changing. Sometimes you have to just get lucky. But one of my coaches growing up always says, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And so and so that's kind of like with social media, you have to keep posting and hopefully one day that your video hits the algorithm right and then boom, then it takes off.
Turner, what was Old Carr's quote?
Yeah, so our guest just a couple weeks ago, I think his episode went out earlier this week.
Mhm,
He goes to Auburn and has a business called Glory EV. He said, luck is where it is the intersection between opportunity and hard work. So
mhm,
very similar, but
mhm.
Yeah,
No,
I
that's
false
loved
awesome.
it when you said
false
that. I was like,
advice.
that's exactly what he just said.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and I
So
also like sometimes you have to or go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say sometimes, like, in business, any, very successful person will say, "Hey, I got a little bit lucky." And
Mhm.
I do think sometimes and then social media is kinda the same way, like, hey, sometimes, like, cards gotta fall right for you to blow up, and then that's where you get all your traction, but you just have to keep at it.
Yeah, and the other thing is like when you do like people will say, "Oh, I just need to make a viral video."
Mhm,
But if you go viral and you have no backlog or no history, it's like
mhm,
why watch you? It's like there's no reason to it. So like that's probably the importance behind having a whole year's worth of stuff
mhm.
so that when you do get that viral video, people have a reason to continue watching you.
Exactly. And the other thing I would say is just being authentic as possible. Like people want authenticity. They don't want a page that's perfect. They want something that, like, that they can relate to. Humans aren't perfect. Nobody's perfect in
Mhm.
this world. So, if you sit there and, like, spend 10 hours editing this video and it has to be perfect, exactly, like, what I learned is, like, from my errors and my mistakes, sometimes that's what made the video successful. It wasn't
Yep.
just the content. It was that the fire alarm, or there was another time, like, I mispronounced, some word and all these fishing gurus or fishing experts like, "This kid doesn't even know what he's talking about, like, why are you guys listening to him?" And maybe there was some truth to that, but at the same time, like, I was sharing my insights and my expertise to fishing. Am I the person who knows every little thing about fishing? No, but I knew a lot more than the followers that were following me and wanting to consume my content, and so that's all that kinda really matters.
Yeah, no, I learned that exact same thing when I mean, this was on a much lower scale. Like I edited YouTube videos for my brother. This
Mhm,
was years ago.
mhm,
And we were both just little kids, and it was hilarious, the fact that we were even doing this with retrospect, of course.
Mhm,
But I did exactly what you described, right? Over edit the videos. These are like gaming videos. Like they're
mhm,
supposed to be chill and relaxed,
mhm,
but I'd
mhm,
over edit the videos, make them perfect to my standard.
mhm,
And it did fine. I mean, like, it wasn't great, but I stepped back. I think it was probably when I was in a heavy season of my senior year of high school,
mhm,
and he just took over editing. And relatively speaking, it blew up. He didn't care about all the fine little things. And
mhm.
I was just blown away at that concept. And it's something that it's stuck with me. It's like, it doesn't have to be perfect. If anything, it's better if it's not perfect because it is more
Exactly.
relatable.
And the other thing is, like yeah, no, that's very cool. I would say the other thing is, like, when you post, the more you post, the more you learn. And
Hmm.
so, from in the beginning is like, "Hey, yeah, they're not gonna look great," or "You're not gonna sound great on
Hmm.
camera," you're gonna be kinda awkward, or you're not gonna have smooth transitions, but as you continue to do it more and more and more over and over and over, that repetition, it is gonna turn into, um, closer to perfection or without you even having to think about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Wes, you must have been so annoyed when your brother did no editing and 'cause, Wes is a very detailed person, which is great because I am not, and neither is
Mhm.
Daniel, but, yeah, I can that's funny.
Yeah, yeah. When he started doing that and didn't like care for the same things that I cared for, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" When it blew up. And again, this is all relative. This is probably like 50 or 60 subscribers on YouTube to like 200, 300. Like this is minuscule, but like relatively speaking, it was yeah, it was funny. Even just a small little thing, it was enough to teach me a lesson.
No, exactly, no, that's awesome. That's the best thing about I mean, I'm sure those lessons have translated into starting this podcast. How long have you guys been doing this for now?
About 6 months, a little less than you right around there. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you could definitely see like the progression in our
Mhm.
quality of our episodes. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. You just gotta keep doing it, and then
Mhm.
people
Yep.
follow and stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
and we keep getting better guests too. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm kind of the person who reaches out and gets everybody, and so I keep telling Wes and Daniel, like, since maybe the middle of July, like, all of y'all have been amazing. We started with some quality guests, but, um, I think with the combination of us getting better at asking questions and
Mhm.
y'all
Yeah,
being
I think that's the biggest thing is, like, when we say better, is, like, we have better conversations with our
Mhm,
guests because we have
mhm,
more experience and we know what type of questions to ask, and, of
mhm.
course, we're still developing that, but, yeah, I think that's what we mean when we're saying better.
No, absolutely, and it's just a process getting comfortable. Um,
Mhm. Yep.
when I first got
Getting
on
I mean,
camera
like yeah.
yeah,
I've always been a camera averse person, and so the fact that I'm doing this right now, like if you were to tell me a year and a half, 2 years ago that I'd be doing this, I would have
mhm.
been shocked. I was like, "What? You like looking into a camera, talking to somebody on the internet and posting it? Like that's insane. You wouldn't have done that."
I would say that's exactly how I was growing up, like, even once I started the Instagram page, my brother was like, "Luke, I would have never thought of you as a social media person."
Mhm.
And but what I'll say is, like, getting in front of the camera is super, super valuable. The rest of your life, if you're gonna be successful, you have to be speaking in front of people, speaking on camera.
Mhm.
So having that skill set or job interviews, Zoom interviews, whatnot, being able to get comfortable, I think is just super, super valuable.
Yep. 100%.
well, and especially when you're maybe preparing for a pitch or practicing for a presentation or anything,
Mhm,
because it's one thing just actual speaking, but being able to watch yourself back and be critical while still not being overly critical is a big part of it. Luke, I don't know
mhm,
if I got to tell you when I met you first, but I'm a music major, so I play viola
okay,
in the orchestra, and I have a business and obviously this podcast as well, but that's my field of study, and so every time we are preparing for a rehearsal or a concert or anything, I'm supposed to record myself every day and listen back to it, and it's
mhm,
the worst thing ever because you hear, "Oh gosh, that sucked. I shouldn't have done that." Like, you can very quickly get over that, but where I'm going with this is you pitched in multiple pitch competitions from, I
mhm.
believe, the SEC, and then was it, Rice?
Yeah, so I pitched, my first ever one was the Rice Business Pitch Competition. I did that, and then I went and pitched at, when I say pitch, not like baseball pitching. What I've learned is when I talk about pitching, people get confused.
Yeah.
Like, going out and seeing my side coach sports, that pitch. So it was Rice. There's one in Minnesota, it's called E-Fest. It's a great, business pitch competition, and then I also did the SEC, and then I did Ohio State has, they call it BOSS, it's like Best of Student Startups. I did that last fall, which was my first year here at Ohio State, and then they have in the spring, they have it's called the President, Buckeye Accelerator Program, where I presented there, and then I actually just presented 2 weeks ago. They have a student athlete business pitch competition, for just student athletes at Ohio State. So I did that, um, and then made it to the final round, which I'm actually presenting on Wednesday of this week. So I've presented my slide deck probably 30, 40 times in front of people between prelims, first round, second round, and whatnot over the last 2 years.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
with all that experience, what advice would you give to someone who's going to pitch? Because obviously schools have all of these amazing opportunities to win equity free money.
Mhm,
And I feel like a majority of the people who might have an idea are your nursing majors who know a ton about some type of medical device that they could make, or people who are maybe not throwing shade on nursing majors, but they're nervous, right? They're not. No one's experienced in this type of thing until you do it. So, what would you
mhm.
tell that person?
Um, One, I would say go out and find a mentor. Like,
Mhm.
go work with somebody that is gonna give you feedback and critical, honest feedback. I was able to find all of these business pitch competitions, from one of he wasn't even actually my professor, but he was the head of the entrepreneurship, program at, Oklahoma, and so he presented me with all these pitch competitions, and I met with him, um, Professor LePeck, Bobby LePeck. I met with him probably once a week, once every other week, and he would go through my slide deck. I would practice presenting, with him, like, "Hey, you need to do this, you need to add this, you need to add this," and so I learned a ton from him, and then you just gotta go and do it. When I went and pitched at Rice, it was a graduate student only business pitch competition, and somehow I got in as undergrad. Um, it was actually because my brother was in grad school at the time, but then he ended up, not being able to do it. And so then I went and just did it on my own, and so I was super intimidated. Like, the first day, that you had to give a, 60-second, elevator speech in front of everybody, and there's 400 people in the audience, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was nervous. Like, if I would go back and look at that video, I was like, you could probably tell I was really nervous. But then but that weekend, I was able to present the pitch, I think 4 times that you get a practice run in front of judges and then 3 more times, and the entire time you're getting feedback and you're getting questions, and they're like, "Hey, you need to add this, you need to add this," and so through that process, I really, like, picked up on things, and then also I went out and watched all the finalists. Like, I placed last place in that business pitch competition. Like, I was probably one of the worst or the lowest scoring teams, there. But I was but it was such a great experience that I was able to learn so much, and I went and watched all the finals, and I was like, "Man, I need to add this," or, "Hey, I need to add this," or, "I need to add this." And so that just made the next pitch so much better, and then I went and presented. Again, I did terribly. I think we finished last place to E-Fest, and I was just getting smoked by everybody. And so then I went and watched the finals, and I was like, "Hey, I need to add this. I need to add this. We need to tune this." And so then it kinda evolved my pitch. And so if you look at the first one I ever gave to the one where I just presented last week, same content pretty much, but I would say that where we're at right now is 100 times better than where I was at 2 years ago from 1, mentorship, and then 2, just going out and doing it.
Mhm. Yeah, so essentially what you're saying is watch the winners.
Exactly, exactly. Like, learn from people who are successful and what they're doing right and what the judges like.
Yeah.
If
Great.
you guys don't mind, I didn't charge my computer. Let me plug in my computer real quick. I
Yep.
hope this
Of
doesn't
course.
mess
Go
up.
for it. Yeah. I had to do the same thing with my phone.
Have you read the book Good to Great?
I have not, and I'll be honest, I do not read a lot. That's one thing that I wanna work on is diving into a book, because a lot of my mentors the past several years, like, "Hey, you need to read books. You can learn a lot," and so maybe that'd be a good one to start off.
It would be it's very interesting. It's essentially a large case study of, I forget the author's name, but he and a team of researchers go through companies that way outperformed the general market between, like, 1950 to 2000,
Mhm,
and they're tracking the characteristics of the leaders, the CEOs who ran those companies, and, one of the things that they talked about was luck and how consistently in all of their conversations interviewing these people, they say that they got lucky, which I thought was interesting when you brought that up earlier, because
mhm,
to me, when there was a the comparison they were making is the great leaders say, "Oh, we got lucky. We had a great team. We had the right timing." The good leaders who maybe did excellent while they were there, but didn't leave a legacy or weren't very good at all, they were saying, "Oh, yeah, I did everything. I kind of did that." And that's obviously just a level of humility that I think it's so interesting that when you're acting in that way, saying, "Oh, it's not me, it's luck. It's up to whatever whoever, whatever it is." Um, it's almost like karma. It's like you get what you give, I guess.
mhm. No, absolutely.
But I just thought I'd ask because it was something I was thinking of from earlier.
Yeah, what I would say is, you can't build anything on your own, and if you think you can, then you're gonna fail. Um, Even, like, going back to Greenhorn, when I first started that, my brother and I started it. It was just us 2 doing it, and I was like, "I'm gonna make these jigs till 4 in the morning." I still look back at videos. I had, like, videos of me tying jigs at 4 in the morning and I'm like, "Why?" Like, I look back and kinda laugh at it, like, grinding myself into the ground, pouring jigs on a Friday night. I was just like, "I'm gonna work as hard as I possibly can, build as many jigs as I possibly can," and shoot, 4 years ago, we still have those jigs sitting in my parents' closet in Texas, and so, what I realized from there is, like, you can't do anything on your own. You have to put together, a team that's gonna be successful, and it starts with your first couple hires, the first couple of people that you bring onto your team, that's gonna make or break your company. Every great CEO will, I promise, will say, "Hey, I have great people under me," and they're the ones who've done majority of the work. Because if you try to do it on your own, you're gonna micromanage everything. You're inherently you're not, perfect, and so you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna burn yourself out. I've listened to a podcast, this guy talks about life's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and that's absolutely true, like, you have to work extremely, extremely hard, but at the same time, you gotta be able to take a step back sometimes and let other people do work or give yourself a breather, because, hey, maybe giving yourself a day off will result in you making better decisions down the line and improved output. So how I kinda look at things now is how much can I get done in the shortest amount of period of time? And I think that's, where you start seeing, things grow and success from there. And then that's going on to also bringing on people to your team and you like I said, you won't be able to do anything on your own, and so I when I first started Side Coach, my mission was like, "Hey, I don't know if this company will be successful, but I wanna learn how to put together a team and manage a team of people." And so that was kinda my goal when I first started Side Coach. Now I think there's a huge market opportunity in what we built. And what I saw was able to bring together my brother, and then, co-founder, Joe Del Januzio. Us 3 have really led this, team, and then also we brought on interns. So I was able to get an intern this summer through Ohio State Athletics, and so she was super, super helpful this summer. I was able to work with her, bring her on board, and then now she's actually presenting with me for the student athlete business pitch competition. And she was a super valuable asset to our team. Like when we presented 2 weeks ago, absolutely killed it. The judges loved her, and I thought it would just like brought another element to the presentation rather than me just going up there and presenting. And so you need to find people that have a common goal of what you're trying to do, but then also have very similar values. Without those two things, then your team won't work out. I'm sure you two have probably seen this. Uh, Building this company that you're doing right now, and like you guys have to be very very similarly aligned, and not in the sense of where hey you guys have the same skill sets, but the same mindset, and then also have the same core values. And that's what builds a successful team, and then everything else is easy when it comes from there. Because in business, tough decisions have to be made, and if you don't align with somebody's values, then it just makes the decisions even harder. And so that was kind of my take on that.
Yeah, no, like totally. And exactly as you said, it's like Turner is mostly focused on the outreach, and that's like something that I could do, but it's
Mhm,
like I'm not, I haven't developed the muscle for it.
mhm,
And then I'm more of the technical person who focuses
mhm.
on the video editing and whatnot. So yeah, you
Exactly.
nailed that right on the spot for us.
You have to have that self-awareness, like, "Hey,
Mhm.
I'm not very good at this." Like, you can't be good at every single thing in the world.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
I'm totally social media averse, and like, I mean, I've gotten used to making these videos now, but like,
Mhm.
don't ask me to post it. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
anything about that.
No,
So,
no,
yeah,
exactly.
I'm glad to have the partners that I do for this.
Mhm. No, absolutely, and that's what comes together is all these creative ideas. That's what really builds a successful company, and a successful team.
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
One thing that we you were kind of touching on earlier, and I want to hit straight on now:
Mhm,
running multiple businesses. You're in grad school, we're doing undergrad, and a student athlete. How do you
mhm,
balance all of the time there? Because again, another one of the things that I think holds people and students back from trying something is, like we said earlier, the fear of, oh, well, what if someone else is doing this? Or I don't want to put myself out there. But also, everyone thinks they have not a lot of time, which
mhm.
I think if you're able to do this, then there should be plenty of more people who are able to. So,
I would say it's all about where your priorities are at, um, and you have to figure out what you wanna do. I will say I've never played video games. I've never been a video game person. And so a lot of times people are like, "How do you have all this time?" I was like, "Well, I don't play video games." So, like, most of my teammates play a lot of video games and could play 4 or 5 hours a day, and that's 4 or 5 hours back to myself, and there's nothing wrong with that, like, you gotta figure out what you like doing, but I just have
Mhm.
never been very attractive to playing video games. The other thing is you have to be disciplined, be able to set your schedule and plan ahead, and so I would say, like, every week, I'm very, methodical. I'm like, "Hey, what do I have going on? Let me schedule things around and put in my calendar, to be able to make everything work." And then the other thing is having team members, like, going back to like, I haven't built side coach from the ground up by myself. Like, I like, I've put a ton of work into it, but it would be nothing without, my brother or JD, on this team, and then all the other interns that we've had to really grow and develop it. So, like, just for example, last, fall, I started my grad program and was playing baseball, and I was super, super overwhelmed. Like, I was working between baseball and school, like, I was having to get up at 5 in the morning, and I wouldn't get done studying till sometimes 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, and it would just rinse and repeat over and over. I think I went, like, 10 weeks in a row without having a weekend off of, like, just doing school or baseball, just go, 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 go. I don't think I could ever do that again. Um, I like, no joke, like, between school and baseball, I was working, like, 90 plus hours, and so I wasn't able to put time into side coach, but that's where my brother really stepped up, and he led, the developers to develop the, mobile app, and so while I was focusing more on school and baseball, he was really leading the process of developing the app. And so that's where I was able to, hey, like I'm still co-founder of this company, but I'm not doing as much work, and he's kind of leading that. And then vice versa. When he first started his job at Bank of America, I picked up some more work there, and he took a step back for a little bit once he was getting settled in. And so that's where you kind of got to balance each other out. And that's where it goes back to life's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so
Mhm.
you gotta be able to realize, hey, I don't have as much time right now, and just be open and honest. And that's where good teams will come together and pick up slack where others are missing.
Mhm.
This semester now, I don't plan for my schedule to be as busy, just with how the grad program's designed. So I've been able to put a lot more work into growing the company. And so, and it's just all a balance.
Definitely. So you've been working with your brother for both of these businesses. What's that
Mhm.
relationship been like?
Oh, he's my best friend. I'm like, I'd be lying if we didn't get into some fights and disagreements over some things.
Mhm.
But like we're brothers, and we still have the same goal in mind, is to build a successful company, be as authentic as possible, and really create value into the marketplace. And that's what we've seen. We see um, side coaches, a business is almost a win-win-win for everybody. One, the college athletes are making money. Two, I saw how much the parents and the kids love working with a college athlete. And then three, obviously, we're able to make money.
Mhm.
And so with those three things, it's like we have the same common goals, and then it's just, okay, what decisions do we have to make? And sometimes there's disagreements, but at the same time, is if you are able to have the humility and be like, hey, what's best for the business? And then let's make a decision off that, not off personal interest, but what's best for the business, and make decisions from there.
Kinda like
Okay.
I've always heard it as wearing different hats, right? Like, if you're having
Mhm,
a conversation about brother stuff, okay, we're
mhm,
brother right now. We're having a
mhm.
conversation about side coach. Hey, we're talking business right now.
No, that's a great point. Were you gonna say add something to that? I didn't mean to cut you
Not
off.
not necessarily. I mean, I do the same thing with one of my best friends from high school is helping me out. He's, again, more of a technical person doing some designing for me, and we're we've had a good time of saying, "Okay, we're having a business call, but later today, we're gonna go talk about how life's been," and that's
Mhm.
been very helpful for me.
Yeah, I will say we had to learn that along the way. There was times I was calling him at, like, midnight, like, "Zach, we need to get this done, we need to get this done." And then at one point, he's like, "Dude, are you ever gonna call me about, like, life or ask about" when he said that, I was like, "Dang, I need to take a step back and relax." And so then we were like, we committed to, like, "Hey, like, at least, like, a couple times a week, like, let's just not even talk about, like, let's just have a normal conversation about life, what's going on." And that's where it goes back to the balance of, because at the end of the day, I'll say the most important thing in life is relationships, who the people you spend time with. Like, yes, everybody wants to make money and wants to be successful, but without relationships, friendships, family, it means nothing. And I always say, like, the fun part is the process. Like, that's where all the memories are made once you're successful, and whatever you do, whatever your measure of success is, looking back at those memories and like, "Man, like, remember the time when we were doing whatever." And I kind of view baseball the same way as, like, I'd say most youth athletes, their goal is to play Division I sports or professional sports, and I've been lucky enough to play college baseball at the highest level at Oklahoma and Ohio State, and I look back and all those memories of staying late in the gym, staying late after practice, getting up early in the morning, like that's the fun part. And the business is almost the same way. I haven't found I'm still super, super early in my entrepreneurial career, but looking back and tying jigs at 4 in the morning is fun to laugh about doing that, or staying up late making videos or whatnot, or um, we still our first YouTube video we ever posted for greenhorn fishing is super, super funny with that. We still laugh at each other, that my mom will pull up over Christmas break or Thanksgiving break, and we can all laugh about it. And like that's the fun part of doing it.
Absolutely. So kind of jumping back to side coach. So, what is y'all's how do y'all make money? Is it a subscription or is it like Airbnb or is like a percentage of um whatever the transaction is?
So how the business model is the college athletes set whatever price they wanna set their price to be, and then we have an incremental price structure. So depending on what they set it at, let's say it's a $60 lesson, the parent's gonna go and see it's gonna be $70. So it's a $10 markup, and then we get about 750 per lesson after our Stripe. We work with Stripe. They handle all of our transactions. So coach sets it at 60 bucks, 60 of it goes to the coach, $10 comes to us after Stripe takes out their fees and everything. Then we get about 750 per lesson. And then 1 to $35 is $5, and then anything over 90 is $15 markup.
Yeah. And for you as a lifetime athlete, getting to see obviously other athletes being able to enjoy the same benefits of coaching as you, but also have you enjoyed seeing kind of the youth and getting everyone coaching up the younger generation of baseball players?
Oh yeah, that's the best part. Like I will say like this summer I was from my personal experience because I still give lessons on the platform too.
Mhm.
One, I enjoy going out and working with the kids. Like sometimes that's the best part of my day, going out there and just giving back, giving an hour, 2 hours of my time to where, hey, I can teach this kid something. I had so many people that worked with me growing up. And so I kind of doing the same for them. And then also, gee, where was I going with this? I lost my train of thought.
No, you're all good.
No problem, no problem.
I do a similar thing. I teach lessons for violin and viola players, right? And I mean, one of my students last year is a amazing player, going into his junior year of high school. Got to work with him, is the best student I've ever had, and he did well in regionals and auditioned for state. And just seeing the progress that they make and how excited they are to come in and show me what they worked on or tell me about how a random thing happened in history class at high school. Like, I totally agree. That's part of some of the best part. And to your point earlier about the relationships and the people in business, like that's what I enjoy.
Mhm.
It's great being paid, of course, but it's
Mhm,
it's more fun when you're helping others or doing things with others. So
No,
mhm.
exactly. No, I know what I was gonna say now. I was gonna go back to sometimes I'll kinda ramble.
yeah,
But going back to, with like, we now have a couple kids on our platform who have been on the site since we launched, coming up on 3 years now on the platform, and they started out working with me, and then last year, I transitioned them to another coach who was a Oklahoma baseball player once I transferred, and then that kid graduated. Now they're on their 3rd coach at Oklahoma in the evolution, and I just can't wait till once he graduates high school, we have all these players on our platform. We're like, "Hey, this kid's been training the last 10 years because we have all this data, and now he's going to play Division I baseball, wherever, or 15 years from now, hey, we have this kid who just had his big league debut who was on our platform. And that's the really exciting part where, hey, we're setting these kids up with coaches that are really helping them accomplish their goals. Cause there was so much that if I would have known now that when I was 10, like it would have helped me out so much, would have saved a lot of time, stress, whatnot, and really understood the process. And so like giving that same experiences to those kids now, because really how we look at it is there's no better way to if you want to most of the kids on our platform like they want to play Division I sports. There's no better way to learn from somebody who's done it firsthand right then and there. Like they're the ones who's closest to these college baseball coaches or college soccer coaches, whatever sport, um, they know exactly what it takes because they just did it last year or 2 years ago, went through the recruiting process. And so that's really where the value, comes from the platform is they're able to work with them firsthand.
so how do you do kind of the marketing and get these athletes connected to the younger kids?
Well, I would say it's been a process and it has taken, there's been a lot of failures. Like we've been working on this, um, sh close to 2.5, 3 years marketing these coaches, getting the word out. And what I'll say is we haven't really focused or found one solution that works quite yet. But which is the beauty of it is like it's a process. And I've studied the founders of Airbnb. They really, really struggled when they first started. Like they were struggling year after year after year because with a gig economy, when you're connecting both two parties and bringing them together in one location, it's super hard to do that versus just selling a product where you're finding one customer. And so, um, we've done several different things. And what I'm coming up on is the most recent thing that I think I see a lot of success is what we're doing is we're partnering with local travel ball teams. And so I'm able to find out on the internet, find these college or not college, these youth travel ball coaches. I reach out to them and I'm like, hey, we'll do a free camp for your team. Just find a date that works, and then side coaches paying these college athletes to actually run the camps. And so it's free to the youth athletes. All they have to do is sign up on our platform,
Oh, that's
and
good.
then we're paying the college athletes to run the camps. And then that's boom right there. We're paying. Let's say we pay them $50 a camp, and then they're getting in front of 10 to 15 kids. That acquisition cost for a sign up is about $5 per camper or athlete, and then hopefully we convert a couple of them to actually do reoccurring lessons, and then boom, is right there. And then there's a lot of word of mouth. We've kind of developed our mobile app also around Robinhood. Robinhood did this beautifully where when they first launched, I remember back, shoot, I was probably in like seventh, eighth grade when I first started trading. And how I got into it was my brother sent me a link on Robinhood. It was like, hey, make an account and you'll get a free stock. And then also my brother got a free stock from doing it. So he was incentivized to send me that. And so we're kind of replicating the same exact thing where, hey, these parents share it with their teammates, share it with their friends, and we'll give them, let's say, a free lesson or 20% off a lesson. And then the other person gets 20% off their first lesson. And it's kind of the same model, then where it spreads organically through that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I love about your business is there's a lot of organic and word of mouth. Like once
Mhm.
once you get athletes in and they say, "Hey, oh, I had a great lesson with this kid from Ohio State baseball," like they're gonna tell everyone about that because when your kid's playing minor league baseball and trying to travel around and they're talking about all that type of stuff. So that's an amazing model, and y'all haven't found it perfectly, it sounds like, but
Yeah.
it's coming, I'm sure. So
Yeah, and I said it's not like one thing is like, "Hey, this is what's gonna work." It's a combination of the technology, the way I look at it, the technology, and then also different marketing strategies that can get the word out there, and then it just goes back to the end of the day, like, you have to have a good product. And that's our technology of our website and our mobile app, to really get users to use the platform and stay on it. And so that's been the fun part is really trying to figure out what the customers are looking for. And so that's what we try to do is line ourselves as close as we possibly can with both the college athletes. Obviously, I'm a college athlete right now, so I know exactly what the college athlete wants, but also learning from my teammates and what they want. And then me going out and giving the lessons. Like the DoorDash founders, I don't know their names, but when they were starting DoorDash, they would go out and drive. Like they would figure out what features on this platform do I need to have as a driver. And so like they were so close to to their customers or with their drivers that they knew exactly how this technology needed to be developed for it to be successful. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do and build the best product as possible.
Yeah, you gotta become the consumer of your own product,
Exactly.
effectively.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, like, that was I don't know why it just kinda clicked for me when you were describing, like, the product versus service, and it's like, yeah, it's one thing to create a company that offers a product to a consumer, and then it's a whole 'nother thing to offer a service to that consumer, and then what you're doing is actually another layer of offering a service that connects someone else's service to the consumer, and it's
we
like, wow,
you've got
yeah,
2
that gets deep real quick.
yeah, you've
Mhm.
got 2 customers that you have to please.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So
effectively.
A
Mhm.
and that's the hardest part, but what I'll say was the beauty of it is that our operational expenses are extremely, extremely low, and then we're
Mhm.
not holding inventory. And
Yep.
so we're not having to make a huge investment and pay all like buy product before we even sell it. We only sell it like once it happens. And so so
Yeah.
our operational expenses are super low just and then also we've been fortunate enough where I say that we're lucky with this is the developers that we found to do this for very, very inexpensive, and then also they've been able to work with us and develop exactly what we want and our vision in mind.
The other beauty of this model is you can go at the speed of your marketing and your tenacity to get people. Like if you got to take
Mhm,
a little bit of a time off of getting new athletes and reaching out and finding new clients, like okay,
mhm,
that's fine. The ones who are on the platform will continue. But also if you wanted to go all in and spend 60 hours a week just emailing athletes and finding people, you can do that too and it'll scale pretty quickly.
mhm, and that's what's been beautiful about being able to run this while also being a student athlete, is like, I can pump the brakes if I need to, or I can accelerate and just really figure out that workload, which is awesome.
And the other side
Yeah.
of it
Oh, go ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead.
The other side of it is college is the best time to do this, and
Mhm.
since you, like you said, have all these other things going on, you you're getting the chance just to try it, and
Mhm,
there's no pressure to succeed and make the $1,000,000 business right now, but
mhm.
that's what we try and tell all of our listeners is, like, you think you're busy, you think you've got a lot going on, but really, there's no better time to try something than now.
It's about your priorities.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And, like, if you can, fail like, especially, like, if you're in college and I always like, my parents always told me, like, "When you're in school, like, treat that as your job."
Mhm.
And but then also, you have a lot more free time, like, you're only taking anywhere from 12 to 15 hours of class credit a week. So that's 15 hours in the classroom, plus you're depending on what major you are,
5 or
varies.
10 maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so you're realistically, you're spending probably, like, 30 hours a week on for school. That's not even a
Mhm.
full-time job, like, if you wanna just work a 9 to 5 and you have an extra 10 hours of free time that you can put towards starting a business, and then if you really want to, you can work weekends and work 60, 70 hours if you want, but the great thing about it is that, like, going back to school is your job, that's your main focus, and then on the side, if you start a side hustle, that's where you can learn and develop your ideas, and the great thing is, like, you're not dependent on that income, and that's where I think a lot of people get themselves in trouble is, like, you're like, "Hey, I have this idea. I'm gonna go and do this full time, quit my job, drop out of school." Yes, like, there's a lot of people have been successful from that, but also there's a lot of people that have really struggled and failed from that, and I think that if you can build something on the side and your sole income is not dependent on it, then you make better decisions and you're not making decisions based on um, trying to pay your rent that week or that month or pay your phone bill because your decision making will be a lot different and will be a lot more short term thinking rather than long term thinking. What being a successful entrepreneur takes, if you're able to run it on the side and you're not dependent on it. And so I think that's what the best thing um, that I've been able to do in college is not have to really worry about um, paying the bills with these companies, and school is my full-time job, and then being able to make the best decisions for the long-term, success rather than the short-term success.
Yeah, that long-term thinking is definitely critical, and
Mhm.
it's a good lesson either way, whether the business works or not. So,
Exactly, exactly, and, like, if you look at most startup companies that like, they're not turning a profit for several years. Like, if you just look at venture capital funds, like, it takes years and years and years to develop a successful company. I mean, if you look at Tesla with Elon, um, Facebook even, Airbnb, like, all these billion-dollar companies, like, it took a long time to really grow and develop, and what I will say, it takes a lot more time, money, and resources than you can ever imagine to build a successful company, but once you get it going, then boom, it'll pay dividends. That's what I'm a
Mm,
firm believer in.
yep.
100%.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, as oh, sorry. I mean, as you said earlier, I mean, it's not linear. It's not going to be linear, and in some cases, it's not even exponential. Like it'll go up and it'll go down. And as you
Ex
noted with Teslas, like yeah, they were once at a point where they were one. Like I think it was if they were almost not be able to make payroll, and like, that
Mhm.
would have been it for the company. And yet here they are, $1 billion company or more.
Trillion.
I don't know the
Yeah.
exact metrics, but like it's crazy.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Same thing with SpaceX too, like, Elon was one rocket failure away from losing all of
Yep.
his funding, and so it could be and that's where the luck going back to the luck comes in play sometimes. You gotta be a little lucky that that rocket takes off, to
Mhm,
continue to receive the funding or whatnot, but yeah, it's not linear, there's ups and downs, and, that's kinda how life is. It's not always sunshine and rainbows, but it's always in those moments where you're down, it's not always as dark as you think it is. So you just
mhm,
gotta keep pushing, keep chugging along, and good things will happen.
mhm,
and the one thing we haven't really talked about is if you're doing something you love and are really passionate about, even when you are kinda down, like, you're still it's not like you're doing something you hate, so
Exactly, exactly, and I would say that's probably one of the scariest things or the hardest things about entrepreneurship and starting a company is, like, what if this doesn't work? Like, I put all the time into this and, like, what if it doesn't work? But what I will say is if you're able to learn when you're and do this when you're in school, what it has given me and, allowed me to do was, one, a lot of people could look at greenhorn fishing and that's a failure, like, you didn't make a whole lot of money, you spent hours and hours of pouring jigs, but that was what got me into coming to Ohio State and being able to get into an MBA program straight out of undergrad, that I would have never been able to do that without doing greenhorn, and then also for getting internships or job experience. Like most student athletes aren't able to work in college, so you don't really have a whole lot on your resume besides school, and then you're a student athlete. But employers want to know people who can who have had internships experience, and so I was immediately able to put on greenhorn fishing, grew a Instagram following to close to 30,000 followers, produced these jigs, built a website, Side Coach Sports. I was able to put X, Y, and Z on my resume. That's like, boom. Now that puts you up that much higher on the list for when you're going to apply for jobs or other internship experiences. And so if you're able to kind of use that and going back to, like, entrepreneurship scary and the fact that, like, what if it doesn't work? Most people look at it as a financial number of, like, of success, but I don't think that's where success should be measured. I think it should be measured on what you learned and what skill sets you picked up along the way.
so do you think that the reason you got into the MBA program was Greenhorn and Side Coach?
Oh, 100%, because I
Yeah,
will say the Ohio State's MBA program, I think the average, starting age for my class was 28, and I was 21. In traditional MBA programs, they want you to go out and get 4 or 5 years experience,
yeah,
but they said, "Hey, you started these companies, you'll be able to contribute to the classroom, we'll let you in."
that's
And so
extremely
that's
interesting.
Mhm.
I've never heard that before, and it makes a ton of sense, right? Because you're getting the experience while you're in the classroom. Um,
Exactly.
so wow, that's another reason to start a business in college. Add that to the toolbox.
Exactly, exactly. It just opens up so many doors, and I would say a lot of people don't wanna do it, and they don't wanna start something that, "Hey, this probably won't succeed, it's probably gonna fail in the financial or monetary measurement," but those experiences and the doors that it opens up is like, man, so many people have been, I would say, have been over backwards to help me out, and I think it just comes from, "Hey, I see the drive, I see the passion, like, I wanna help you out," and so, So I think if you just find something that you like doing, people are out there wanting to help. People want to give back. Like inherently, people want to give your time. It makes you feel good helping somebody out. Just like going back to giving the lessons. There's also a lot of mentors out there in the business world who want to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Wes, you have any other final thoughts?
I don't.
Awesome. Well, Luke, where can people find you or find Side Coach?
Well, you can find Side Coach on sidecoachsports.com. If you're a parent looking for college athletes to work with, you can make an account, and then someone, either myself or my team, will reach out. I'm on LinkedIn as well, just Luke Carrell. You'll see a logo, Side Coach Sports, picture of me talking. But yeah, so I can be either reached by either of those two.
And if you're a student athlete, want to start doing lessons, reach out as well.
No, exactly. So yeah, so we're super excited for the future. I appreciate you guys having me on. Glad we were able to get this set up. I love what you guys are doing. Super, super cool. I think it's a great idea, and so I'm excited to connect you with some other people I think would be great to talk with.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you for coming on.
Yes, we really appreciate it. Alrighty, that's a wrap, Joel.